What's going on, guys? Bob Roche from RocheTechnology.com here with my WWDC 2012 predictions. Like many of you guys know, this is Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, and it's actually taking place this next week. So this is typically the event where we see releases such as software, like the upcoming Mountain Lion, upcoming iOS 6. But this year, I think we'll definitely be seeing some hardware releases as well. So I'm not going to ramble too much here. I got my notes on my iPad, so let's just go ahead and we'll jump right into it. So first off, I think we're going to see Tim Cook take the stage, and just like every other keynote, I think he's just going to give us some statistics. How many third-generation iPads they've sold, how many downloads from the App Store, how many apps are in the App Store, how many copies of OS X Lion they sold. But once we move past that, I think Apple is just going to jump right into Mountain Lion. Now, we've already had sort of like a demo of this with the developers preview that they released, so a lot of people already know what's coming. But basically, I just think that we're going to have a lot of iOS-like features, a lot of iOS applications such as notifications, really the whole notification center, not really an application but a feature. We also have applications like Notepad, like the little note thing, like actually just like this, but basically just for OS X, reminders, things like that. All these little apps that we already know are coming. I think we'll actually see a demo of these rather than just them talking about it. One feature that I think we might actually be seeing coming to the Mac is Siri. And the reason I say that is because Siri is actually extremely good as it is right now. While the servers aren't always on our side, the actual features of Siri are there, and there's obviously going to be more coming. It's still just in beta, so it's in the beginning stages, that very early stages of its time. So like I said, there are going to be a lot more features coming even to the iPhone and coming to the iPad, which I think it will in iOS 6, but I'll get more into that later. But as far as the Mac, pretty much every Mac that they sell nowadays is a laptop, and every laptop has a microphone on it. So everyone will immediately already have access or like the ability to do Siri, and I think that Apple will definitely bring this in Mountain Lion. If they don't, I'll be surprised. They might be waiting for, who knows, Mac OS 10, 10.9, or even maybe Mac OS 11 or whatever it's going to be called. But I think now would be a good time just with the iOSification of OS X. I think Siri is one of the killer features that would definitely sort of complete that loop, I guess, of iOS features on the desktop. So once we move past the demo and the features and all that other stuff, I do believe that Apple is going to announce a $30 price tag, very much like Lion. This is pretty much like a smaller update. It's not like tiger to leopard. It's more of a sort of like snow leopard to lion. It's pretty much that all over again. So just these subtle little changes, so maybe like things like Gatekeeper and things like that. $30 upgrade I think would be very nice. Mac App Store exclusive once again, and I think we'll see a release window anywhere from mid-June to mid-July. Apple really does need to push this out there, and I think that they are on schedule with that. So moving from the desktop OS to the mobile OS, it's time to talk about iOS 6. Now I have to say, I absolutely love iOS 5 as it is, but however, with that said, there's just definitely some things that I would like to see improved. The first thing I would like to see improved is Notification Center. I don't like having my notifications, take up only that much of the screen. I just don't think that's very intuitive. I hate the little X's that you have to push. Personally, I think Apple should release, sort of maybe like a full screen experience, or there's even a Cydia hack, Cydia, however you want to say it. There's actually like a tweak that you can do where you take two fingers and you slide in from the side, and that'll actually bring up your notifications. I think that would also be a very nice way to go about it. But I want those little X's that you have to push to dismiss notifications. I want that gone. I would also like to see some more information. Like even on the iPhone, you can see weather and stocks and things like that. On the iPad version, I don't know if you can see this or not, you don't have any of that. I would like to have some weather integration, or maybe even just some customizable things that I can have in there or not. I can be able to, I want to have more customization and an overall redesigned notification center. I would also like iOS 6 to have true multitasking. The iPhone might be a little more hard to get that thing going, but on an iPad with the battery life and the processor as amazing as they are, this is a device that's definitely more than capable of true multitasking. And by true multitasking, I mean I want to be able to have my Twitter feed over here, and I want to have Safari on the other side. I want to be able to have Notes and Safari, things like that. I want to be able to run them at the same time and switch between them without having to do a four-finger gesture. And I don't really like, I want to have full screen apps as the only way that I can, use my workflow. Like I said, I love it how it is. I mean, switching between apps really isn't that hard. It's as simple as, doing like four fingers and stuff. But I would overall just love to see true multitasking and being able to do two things at once. There's also been a lot of rumors of enhanced maps. I will say that I do like Google Maps on the iPhone. However, if you're in a city, something like Pittsburgh or something with tall buildings, it's absolutely horrible. The little dot jumps all over the place. And while that may not be a fault of that app and more like a signal loss sort of thing, the overall UI I wish we could see something new. I would definitely love to migrate away from Google Maps and have sort of a new experience. There's tons of rumors though that Apple's already purchased all these other companies and that there's already the new map service and iPhoto for the Mac. So I just think that this is definitely hinting that that will happen, and I'm very excited to see what this brings to the table. I would also really love to have Siri on the iPad. Siri, like I said, on the iPhone, it already works great as it is. I would love to be able to do those tasks on my iPad too. I find that, I'm sure I'm not the only one, that I'm more productive on here. You know, I can actually type out things like this with ease. And honestly, I use dictation for a lot of things, especially like with messaging. However, I would also like to see some enhanced Siri things, such as being able to send the message rather than having to hit that tiny little blue send button. Things like that, you know, setting timers, opening applications. I would just love to see an enhanced Siri. And like I said, not only for the iPad, but for the iPhone as well. Enhanced Siri features in iOS 6, I just think is a must. Apple really touted Siri, and it is everything they've said it is, but I want much more than that as well. So those are pretty much the top features I expect to see in iOS 6. I hope we see some more things. Some things I said may or may not end up being true. But however, regardless, I think that we'll be seeing a fall release date. But I do think that they will demo some of these features that they include during the WWDC keynote. So now moving on to hardware releases. WWDC, like I said, stands for Worldwide Developers Conference. So therefore, this is usually focused on software. So this usually isn't the time of year that Apple releases a bunch of products. However, I do think that this year will be different because there's just so many Mac models that are due for an update, especially the Mac Pro. And Ivy Bridge just came out with great lower power consumption and USB 3.0. I think Apple would be crazy to wait any longer to update their hardware. So let's just go ahead and jump into the hardware I think we'll see. First off, I'd like to talk about the mobile world, and that is the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air. Honestly, I don't think they'll unify it into one notebook. I do think that they'll keep them separate, but however, I do think that the MacBook Pro will become more MacBook Air-esque in that it may or may not have an optical drive, or there may be one model with it and one model without it, but I think Apple may even end up just killing off the optical drive altogether. There are many external optical drive solutions, and I'm sure many people would rather have, you know, a thin device rather than one that has an optical drive that they don't really use very often. But besides not having an optical drive, being lighter and thinner, I think Apple is definitely going to update all their Macs to Ivy Bridge processors. That would definitely be the smart move, especially for things like laptops, because not only do you get lower power consumption, you know, you clock for clock, Ivy Bridge is a little bit faster, so you can have a lower clocked CPU and still have it be very nice and fast. So you save power consumption, but you also get USB 3.0. It's a very nice feature. Macs don't have that officially. You have to sort of do it in the Hackintosh world if you want it. But also with the addition of HD 4000 graphics, this is definitely a great onboard solution for graphics. You can have up to 3 displays on just one, you know, an onboard graphics chip. That's very impressive. So using these HD 4000 graphics in a laptop will just give you amazing graphics power, and which, you know, drum roll leading up to, I think the next feature is a Retina display on these MacBooks. Now, the resolution as it is in no way bad, but you know, if they did sort of what they did with the iPad and double the resolution, they have the processing power to handle this, potentially the battery life to handle this. Since MacBooks really only have one video out, I don't see the need to have 3 displays. So if we have one Retina display with, you know, like double the resolution, you could still have enough graphical horsepower to drive a second display. But overall, I think Retina displays are just imminent. Apple is really known for their great displays. The iPad, you know, the iPhone, they're really the first one to bring Retina display into the market. So I think Apple is very proud of their displays, and I think that we can definitely expect to see a Retina display in the MacBook. So that's pretty much all I expect to see for the MacBooks. Using Ivy Bridge will allow things like a Retina display, USB 3.0, better power consumption leading to better battery life. So I think that if just the addition of Ivy Bridge alone will definitely enhance the whole MacBook experience. Moving on to the desktops, I really don't think we'll see much of an update with the iMac. We might see the jump to Ivy Bridge, but the resolutions of the screen are already great as they are, so I don't really think that they'll have a Retina display. Like 27-inch Retina display is still kind of out of this world yet, but even the display as it is on the 27-inch model is just absolutely outstanding. It's like the highest resolution on the market for a 27-inch display, so I definitely think those displays are okay. But other than that, like, you know, maybe the addition of the Ivy Bridge CPU and maybe some more memory, but I don't think the design or anything else really needs to change. And the same thing goes for the Mac Mini. I think the Mac Mini may also make the jump to Ivy Bridge, but it'll pretty much stay the same. I mean, there's really no need to have a different design or to upgrade maybe like the video, well, with the built-in HD 4000 on the Ivy Bridge chip. But other than that, I think the iMac and the Mac Mini can pretty much stay as they are. Now moving on to an entirely different animal, I'm going to be talking about the Mac Pro. Now Apple is long overdue on the Mac Pro. It's been the same for about 2 years, and the world has changed in 2 years compared, you know, to what a pro level machine is and to what, you know, a consumer level machine is. they're pretty much like, we're at the consumer level where the Mac Pro was like a professional level in just 2 years. So Apple really does need to update the Mac Pro, and I think that now is the time to do it. Now you have these Ivy Bridge Xeons. We're just going to see some amazing performance out of this Mac Pro. I think that we'll have the addition of Thunderbolt and or USB 3.0, so definitely much faster I/O, much faster processor. I hope Apple at least gives us 8 gigabytes of RAM in the Mac Pro. I hope to have, some Radeon 6000 or 7000 series graphics. I really think Apple will just pack a huge punch with this Mac Pro. Design-wise, cosmetically, I think that the design will stay the same. I mean, who doesn't love the Mac Pro case? I mean, I have a Power Mac G5 case for my Hackintosh, and I absolutely love it. So I think the design doesn't need to go anywhere, but the inside is definitely due for a huge update, and I think that we'll get it. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys for my WWDC 2012 predictions. Just to recap really quick, I think we'll be seeing Mountain Lion coming out between, mid-June to mid-July. We'll have a lot of iOSification, maybe Siri, and I believe that'll be $30. I think iOS 6 will be coming up this fall. Should be a free upgrade. Should have enhanced Siri, hopefully a better notification center, things like that. I'd definitely be very welcome. And as far as hardware goes, I think we can see the iMac and the Mac Mini stay the same, maybe with a slight processor upgrade to Ivy Bridge. I think we'll see definitely all new MacBook Pros and or updated MacBook Airs, bringing Ivy Bridge with maybe Retina displays, just better overall internal graphics, maybe USB 3.0, things like that, and overall just a beast of a Mac Pro, maybe like up to 16 cores, like 2 8-core Xeon Ivy Bridge chipsets, probably 8 gigabytes minimum of memory, hopefully some good Radeon HD 6000 or 7000 series graphics, just an overall killer desktop. I think Apple is definitely prime time to deliver this. So what do you guys think? Do you think I'm absolutely crazy bonkers out of my mind like Willy Wonka or something? Or do you guys think I'm dead on? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below and on RocheTechnology.com. Also be sure to let me know on Twitter. I'm at CPUKit and at RocheTechnology. And before I ramble anymore, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you soon.